One of the best days of my life almost turned into one of the worst days of my life. We had recently purchased the house and were in the process of making it our home. The previous owners had planted about 6 spreading juniper bushes in the yard that had grown to the size of about 20. They were overgrown, they collected trash, and in addition to being a fire hazard, they were just unsightly. We decided to remove them and have some landscape brick retaining walls built that we could use as planters for our landscaping. We met John on Facebook, who appeared to have all the skills necessary to help design and build the walls. John came out and measured and scribbled notes, and through his ciphering calculated how many bricks of each type that we needed. Now, some of those bricks were 18 inches long, 12 inches wide, and 12 inches tall, and weigh about 60 pounds each. We placed an order with the landscaping company that sold such bricks and delivered almost a full truckload to our house. The bricks were neatly stacked on pallets and wrapped in shrink wrap, and the truck was unloaded with a forklift they brought along. John was a one-man band and worked fervorously to complete our walls, even working on weekends and holidays. After he started getting close to completion, he decided we didn't have enough bricks. So he placed an order, but we only needed 1 pallet. The shipping cost for 1 pallet of bricks was the same as for a whole truckload, so I decided to drive the 50 miles from my house to the landscaping company to pick up the bricks in my pickup. So I took my 1998 GMC Sierra quarter-ton pickup and headed to the landscaping company to pick up the bricks. As I traveled down the road, I saw a group of vehicles that had slowed down, and some had pulled over to the side of the road in front of me. Now, I live in Estes Park, Colorado, whose favorite town animal is the elk, and I assumed that there was a group of them crossing the road and everyone had stopped to look at them. Now, I love to watch elk too, but I had a mission to accomplish, so I made my way through the stopped cars and I could see the elk in front of me. One of the calves had tried to jump a barbed wire fence and didn't quite make it, and its rear legs got tangled in the barbed wire fence. And the calf lay on the ground helplessly flailing around. Well, I decided I couldn't just leave that elk there, and I happened to have a pair of pliers in my pickup. So I pulled over and I stopped and I went back, and I was able to find a place in the fence that I could release the fence from the fence post, and it immediately let that elk down. The elk jumped up and ran off with all the other elk following behind him. I wrapped the fence post back up, put my pliers back into the toolbox, got in my truck, and got back on my mission. What a great feeling. I had saved an elk's life, and I was on top of the world. Well, as I continued my journey, I thanked the Lord that I was not injured, and the elk was not injured, and my good deed for the day was done. I was feeling pretty smug with myself. I arrived at the landscaping company and they had my bricks ready and stacked on the pallet. As the forklift put them in my truck, the back end squatted down close to the road. I asked the men who were loading me how much the bricks weighed, as I had to make the 50-mile trip back to home. They assured me that my truck could handle the weight as long as I did not exceed 35 miles per hour and if I put additional air in my tires, which they helped me to do and sent me on my way. I felt like I was crawling back up the hill, but I was determined to get those bricks back to my house so John was not delayed in finishing our project. The first 30 miles were uneventful, and my tension started to ease a bit. As I wound my way up the hill just past the small town of Pinewood Springs, the truck followed the road on a sharp left turn and then an immediate right turn. The top row of bricks on the pallet fell off over the bed rail of the truck and exploded on the highway just beside me. I quickly pulled the truck off the road and ran to assess the damage. A car going the opposite direction had seen what had happened and stopped to assist me. There were full bricks, chunks of bricks, and brick shards all over the highway, but the car that had stopped to help was unscathed. As we were directing traffic around the pile of broken bricks and kicking them off to the side of the road, I noticed another car pulled off the shoulder just up the hill from where I came. I asked those who were helping me if they thought anyone had been hit by the debris, and they said they didn't think so. But I trudged up to see if the car to see if everything was all right. As I approached the car, I could see that it had 2 flat front tires and a shattered windshield. I rushed to the driver's door to see the 2 occupants shaken but not injured. As they passed my truck in the opposite direction, the bricks had fallen off my truck directly in front of them. Without time to react, they ran over the exploding bricks, which flattened their tires from the shards, and the broken bricks shattered their windshield. Thank God they were uninjured, and I couldn't help think that if the bricks had fallen off just a fraction of a second later, they would have gone directly through the windshield and possibly killed them. Well, my elation from saving the elk quickly turned to my fear that my unwrapped load of bricks could have ended someone's life. If I had just been 1 second faster, those 2 tourists who decided to drive up to Denver to enjoy Rocky Mountain National Park for the day might not have been there at all, might not be here today. That day, my range of emotion switched from the delight of possibly saving one of nature's creatures from a long and possibly deadly ordeal to the realization that my shifting load could have potentially ended the lives of 2 unwitting accomplices to my drama that day. Each day is a gift. Let us enjoy each other to the fullest extent as God had intended, and I pray that each ensuing day from here on forward will be the best day of your life.